How's it going, everybody, especially you, Dr. Middlebrooks? We're going to be talking about xenoacyllomorpha today. I have a couple of pictures here to kind of give you a look at really what we're looking at today, because they're really not well known and actually well disputed today as between scientists and where they should be put. All right, so let's get right into this with the general overview. So xenoacyllomorpha is the fourth phyla in Deuterostomia, and xenoacyllomorpha is comprised of Xenoturbellida and Acyllomorpha. Xenoturbellida specifically is Xenoturbella, and then Acyllomorpha is broken up into Nematodontiida and the acyloworms. So, like I was saying, as of like 2016, scientists have been going back and forth. It's been under dispute whether Xenoacyllomorpha is in Deuterostomia, if it's a fourth phylum there, or if it's actually part of Platyhelminthes, which we talked about earlier this semester. But I'd say now it's leaning more towards a sign of Deuterostomia because of the RSB66 gene, which is only found in deuterostomes. So right there, they're like, all right, let's put it into Deuterostomia as the fourth phylum. Also, they were really thought to be very simple. Like, they were always thought to be simple, but it was actually found that they were more complex earlier in time, and then over evolutionary time, they lost those complex body parts to take over a very simple body plan for their ecological niche. Next, we're going to talk about how in Xenoacyllomorpha, there's three different cephalizations in the three different taxa that make up Xenoacyllomorpha, and those were Xenoturbella, the acyloworms, and then Nematodontiida. Those three all have three different types of cephalization. So that was a very unique characteristic of this phyla, and you don't really see that anywhere else. Right here you see some Nematodontiida. Alright, next slide, we're going to talk about the phylogeny. So fourth Deuterostomia phylum. So right here you have Protostomia, and then you have Deuterostomia, and then we have our chordates, which is us as humans. Then you have Echinodermata, so sea stars, sea urchins, brittle stars, sea cucumbers, and then we have Hemichordata, which we learned earlier was, early in the semester we learned it was acorn worms. And then we have Xenoacyllomorpha, which, like I said, Xenoturbella, acyloworms, Nematodontiida. Here we have Xenoacyllomorpha and how it's branched out into that Xenoturbellida, and then this is the Acyllomorpha, which you have the acyloworms and then the Nematodontiida there, and there's just beautiful illustrations to really give you a visual of what these actually are. And it also gave a smaller phylogeny of how you go from Cnidarians, and on this side, and it breaks up to Xenoacyllomorpha, and then deuterostomes and protostomes. See it like I was talking earlier, how they have the different views. I took this from one of the scientific articles I was reading. That was around 2016. And then one of these was from one of them I was reading in 2016. So you have this view, how it's here in the deuterostomes, and then here it's completely separate from deuterostomes and protostomes. But like I said earlier, we're leaning more towards how it's in the Deuterostomia, how it's the fourth phyla. All right, that's phylogeny. Let's go on to the next slide, which is going to be the anatomy. So I said they were more complex earlier in time, and then over a period, they lost all their complex systems. So here you see, this is Xenoturbella specifically. You have the one body or one opening, so incomplete digestive system. So there's one way in, one way out. Right here, the epidermis is actually ciliated. So they have a ciliated epidermis. So that means these little beads, like these little finger-like projections, swirl around to help locomote the animal to, I guess, find prey or just to move around. They have no gut, no through gut, no gill slits, and no body cavity. So obviously they don't have a coelom because they're acial, so without a coelom. They're bilateral, as you can see here, and also they only have one single digestive opening, which I discussed earlier. Also, in physiology, which we're going to get into, we're going to talk about the different nervous systems, three different central nervous systems. So, let's get right into that. And with this, I'm going to go back and forth between this slide and this slide here, which gives you a little bit. It's very complex. It's very, in depth. So it's going to be a good visual to get back and forth. Oh, one extra. So Xenoturbella, they have the simplest and the more basal nerve net or central nervous system, which is a nerve net. So right here you can see with the Xenoturbella, they have a nerve net with some statocysts right there to give them some sensory organs to sense where they're going. And with Nematode, they actually have a brain, so a cluster of nerves or a ganglion, and here they have tuberine-like projections or neuropils surrounding a statocyst. So here we see the two rings. Well, you see the ring here, and then there's another ring over here that kind of, in between there, and then you have the statocyst. So that's the Nematode, and they're one step further. So you're going from most basal to in between, and wrong one. And then we're going to Aciola, which is even more complex because they have 3 to 5 pairs of nerve cords that are and a peripheral nerve plexus. So here you can see the statocyst right there. They have the two rings, and then they're going to have different neural cords coming off 3 to 5. And then here, just pay attention to these 3, and then these are a little bit more complex as you go on. So yeah. Next we're going to talk about ecology. So the ecology of these Xenoacilomorpha, it's very interesting because they pretty much live in all marine environments. You can find them anywhere from 3,000 meters down. The Xenoturbella, they live in deep sea sediment. And then with the Nematode, you might find them in coastal waters, or you might find them inside of sea cucumbers. So the acial worms, which I showed on the first one here, you can actually see them on an anemone. Usually you can find them on reefs, on coral, or just organisms on the reef. Well, organisms that stay put on the reef. Obviously they're not gonna go on a fish or anything like that. So you also have the Nematode that will, like I said earlier, go in coastal water, or they can be found inside of the intestines of sea cucumbers. Also, a lot of these species, or a lot of species inside this phylum, are parasitic, like we saw with our Platyhelminthes, how a lot of those flatworms were parasitic. It's also true with this phylum, how a lot of these worms are parasitic, because obviously with their simple body plan, they're going to be living very simple lives. So being parasitic is very helpful because you literally don't do anything and you just take all your host food. So I think that's it. References here. Here's a couple links of some of the images and scientific articles I used. I'll give my professor the works cited, which has all the sources and all the different scientific articles I used to compose this presentation.